Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next Yu-Gi-Oh review, and today I'm reviewing the starter deck or structure deck, first structure deck of the structure deck line that Konami would release over the years and is still releasing. Starting with Dragon's Roar. And don't mind the background, my dog is in here too. She's you can barely see her on the left side on the see if I can. You can see her moving around back there. She's by the door with a little hat on top. You can see she's directly below that. But if you're wondering if the deck looks a little short, that's because 4 of the cards were removed because they were banned. Pot of Greed, Snatch Steal, what was the third? Heavy Storm and Premature Burial were all included in this deck, and so it was a lot more popular. And since I plan to actually take this to tournaments, I probably still, even today, probably could get some use out of it now. Although I probably have to do some updating to kind of coincide with Link Summon and all that when that gets released. But the deck isn't too bad. I mean, you get an updated version of Red Eyes here. This is Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, which actually is unfortunate. It's kind of disappointing because you still got to tribute the original Red Eyes, which is in here. And then it gains 300 attack points for each dragon in your graveyard. It's not too bad. You really need to ride on a graveyard heavy deck to really make use of it. Other than that, you're not going to get much out of it. But we still got Call of the Haunted in here. I think at one point that may have been banned or limited, but here it is, still in here. Mine's been through a lot. It's actually a bit wrinkled from various uses. And here's Red Eyes. It's the Shonen Jump version of the artwork. I mean, probably some of the better cards are definitely in here as well. I mean, you still got Nobunagata Crossout. It kind of would have been nice if they had Magical Mallet instead of Reload, but that's a lot of these structure decks do have a lot of similar cards, but not as many similar cards as the starter decks from back in the day. I mean, you got the Armed Dragon levels, got 3 and 5. I mean, for this deck, I've actually made it more than. You know, since there's only like, so it's missing 4, so it'd be about 36 cards in here. I think mine actually may be a little less, because I think I may be missing a card somewhere that may have been, at the time, limited. Probably another creature swap in there. But I've actually updated, like, with like 8 cards in here. These are like all the cards I've actually added to the deck to make it playable. There's 2 copies of Dragon's Mirror here. Let's see if I can get them all spread out so you can see them a little bit better. But this is what I do. I usually do 4. It really depends on how good I think the deck is. Let's see if I can get all 5 out of here. So give you a nice idea of what I do. Got Bright Star Dragon. Is it Kidmodo? Is it? I think it's Kidmodo Dragon. Let's see if I can get it back out of here again. Yep, it's Kidmodo Dragon. Red Eyes Wyvern, it's just a beat stick mostly. It's foil from the Ancient Prophecy Special Edition. And of course, can't throw a dragon deck in without the overpowered Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. And then Starlight Road. There's the 2 copies of Dragon's Mirror. Magadrago just for 2 Synchro Summoning and a foil copy. I think it's Photon Shockwave. Yep, Photon Shockwave. It's actually the sneak preview card. It's the one you find in the set. So I've included that in here too, just as another beat stick. While I'm at it, I might as well show the extra deck. Shouldn't be too. Some of them you can probably go, okay, yeah, you can see why. They're all dragons. So in case you're wondering, you got 2 5-headed dragons here for obvious reasons. I mean, it's like one of the easiest monsters to summon in. So 5,000 attack and defense beat stick. And Explorer Dragon Wing is in here too. Not too bad of a card. I mean, some of these I could probably replace, but I don't really have a whole lot of my replacements here. Scrap Dragon. Card that's probably been at least plaguing me at some point or another, facing off against it. It's not that bad of a card. You can get rid of stuff, and then you can get dragons in your graveyard to power up. And obviously, Stardust Dragon, still, I think to some extent, still remains pretty powerful. Maybe not quite as powerful. Here's a Red Dragon Archfiend as well. I mean, it's pretty decent. I'll probably replace it with a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, because that's actually a whole lot better. It just wipes out all attack monsters, but on the field. It's a very powerful card. The only thing is, that's the only one that can attack if you do that. But, I mean, that's really a really minor detail on that. Just thought I'd show you that. I may do that for other ones as well. Although I may not separate them like I did here. Here's Armed Dragon level 5. You can't 7 and 10, you're going to have a hard time getting because they are only in Duelist Pack Chaz Princeton. I actually managed to assemble them all on my birthday. Yeah, that was pretty lucky. That's only because a friend of mine managed to get 7, so that kind of helped. But yeah, you also got Dragon's Rage, which I think is still quite powerful, especially if you get the big dragons on the field. You get 5-headed dragon, piercing battle damage for that is pretty good. And you got the original print of Red Eyes Chick, which became Black Dragon's Chick in more recent prints, because it's not a Red Eyes monster. It'll help you out a little bit in terms of getting Red Eyes on the field. But Red Eyes is kind of outdated as a whole. I mean, probably even since day 1, it's pretty well been outdated. It was kind of marginally playable back in the day, because, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of threats to worry about. All the big cards that could have destroyed it were hard to get. Raigeki and Darkhold were legal at the time. So, just going to start wiping off the field. I mean, it was pretty difficult. It was also pretty difficult to keep monsters on the field. So we actually have gotten a bit of a trade-off. We've gotten more easier access to cards that destroy or remove from the field, but we've also gotten ways to protect dragons on the field as well. So Queen Dragon would probably be an example of something I would probably include in here. This isn't too bad of a deck. I mean, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to play with it out of the box anymore, because it's like I said, 4 of the cards have been banned, and they're probably more than likely going to stay banned for a while unless it gets some kind of errata. But how are you going to error a Pot of Greed such that it, without crippling how it was supposed to work? I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I mean, regardless, I mean, you could say draw 2 cards, skip your next 2 draw phases. We have that already in Reckless Greed. That would make Reckless Greed obsolete. And I would still, I mean, maybe, I could see maybe the only way they can make use is, okay, draw 2 cards. You cannot use either card you played this turn. So you cannot set or summon or activate them this turn. Might make it a little, might work. I don't know. I just don't know. There's really, I don't think there's any way you could actually make the card, as I said, not, you know, like Erudites, so it can all come off the ban list, and then somehow become playable. I don't think so. And it's going to take away from how it was originally supposed to work. It was supposed to be originally a powerful card. I mean, back in the day, it was pretty harmless to have a card that says, okay, draw 2 cards. And then once more and more cards are getting released, Pot of Greed started getting ridiculous. You draw it, it's like a big top deck, it's like, oh wow, 2 more cards for me, draw 2. And that could be a game ender right there. You could have exactly what you needed. Either you get Exodia, you get whatever you need. You have enough to bring out, you know, Chaos Emperor Dragon, which was, I think, was definitely legal at the time it was originally released in Invasion of Chaos. Actually, Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning was also in Invasion of Chaos, as I recall. I think, yeah, both of them were, yeah. They're at the beginning of the end, actually, yeah. There were different parts of the set. Pretty sure that's how they were released. But here, looking at the deck, I mean, there's some pretty mediocre cards in here, too. You're not going to get around with, yeah, Red Eyes Chick is also one that's pretty mediocre. All the Element Dragons, the ones that require X attributes to be on the field to even do anything, they're not very good. I mean, granted, you got Master Dragon in here. Can help search out. You bring out stuff from Red Eyes. Trap Jammer's in here. That's a pretty decent card. I would still argue it's probably still pretty decent today. There's probably going to be a lot of stuff that involves using the battle phase at some point. And you got Ceasefire. Ceasefire is always pretty good. It's like having a field full of effect monsters and throwing this at your opponent, dealing a huge amount of damage. Or, since there are a lot of effect monsters in the game, you're pretty much almost always going to see an effect monster in these Curse Maneuvers and just put them all in defense mode and drop their defense to 0. See. And then they get locked in that mode, so you can activate it during your turn and then just run them all over. That would become especially useful for monsters like Flame Wingman, but I would not make sure if you're going to use a monster like that, you need to play it first. You need to play it after, you need to play Curse of Anubis first, and they all go to defense mode, and then therefore your new monster is not affected by it. But yeah, you also got Twin-Headed Behemoth in here. So you're probably going to have to make some modifications here like I did. And even mine may not be so great anymore. This card is pretty poor as a whole. I mean, it's once per duel. Nothing overpowered. I mean, it's not even an overpowered effect, especially since the monster comes back with 1,000 attack and defense. It won't do anything if you tribute summon it. It's only when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. It's kind of sad. I figured once per turn to be okay. I don't think there'd be any reason to... But they went the extra mile and said, nope, once per duel. But yeah, I think as we move along, I think we're going to find the structure decks get a little bit better, which is good, because I think the zombie deck is actually a bit better still. Not necessarily because of the boss monster in there, but because of the cards that are included in there. A lot of zombie support in there. You can really mix and match. In fact, this deck you could probably mix with like the Rise of the Dragon Lords, which is a whole bunch of high tribute monsters. You could probably make use of that by mix and matching. That would probably be a good way to update it. I just put what I had. I made it easier on myself. I wasn't going to buy another copy of the structure deck just to build upon it. I mean, I could, but again, then I'd have 8 cards that were banned instead of 4. But yeah, that's my review on Structure Deck Dragon's Roar. Thanks.